What's up, everybody? Sooners on SI post-game wrap here. Ryan Chapman, Carson Field, coming to you from the north end zone at Williams-Brice Stadium as the Oklahoma Sooners bounce back in a big way. 26-7 victors over South Carolina in a game that wasn't really as close as the scoreboard. And Carson, so many questions about how's this group going to bounce back? Well, we saw it. They're up 14-0, goes 14-7, gets a little wonky right after halftime. Similar vibes to last week. Oklahoma comes out in the third quarter, seizes the game back, and takes full control, and this place was empty by the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, I thought it was about to be another deja vu of what we saw at the Cotton Bowl, what OU fans have seen a lot during Brent Venables' tenure. Credit to them, though. They bounced right back in the third quarter, looked awesome, really took the game out of reach. The offense played well. The run game was good. The defense was fantastic. Just a really all-around win for this team, which was obviously a much-needed sight after what happened against Texas.
Yeah, they talked about in the postgame of Temple it being a mature win for that road game. I thought this was like a growth moment, a step forward for not just this team, but it felt like the program, because I thought the game plan was great for Ben Arbuckle, a guy that came out. John Mateer obviously did not push the ball downfield. That felt very, very, very intentional as far as that went. And the run game popped up, like you mentioned, for Brent Venables. It was about getting off the field on third downs and taking advantage of a South Carolina rushing attack that was poor. Well, guess what? Oklahoma did that, held South Carolina to 54 yards rushing, and they were 0 in the first half on third downs. Had a couple of fourth downs, but importantly, the fourth down stand on the first defensive possession in the end zone right behind us, Carson. I thought this was like top to bottom, players, coaches, everybody came back and roared back here to victory today.
Yeah, no, they really did. It was an impressive win. It might be the most impressive win of the season at this point as far as just a complete effort. I mean, South Carolina, they have issues. We're not going to...
Not good. There were boos. They wanted to fire everybody
They want to fire Shula more than anybody, it sounds like.
Our friend Shane Beamer was not a popular man here today as well.
No, he was not. But, I mean, even so, this is a team that we've talked about. They have talent. Lenora Sellers, he showed flashes of what he can do today. Didn't have a whole lot of time. He hit the ground multiple times. Several times, not multiple times, several times. They couldn't really do anything because the defense was so good. The offensive line looked really good today. I wouldn't say there was any certain area of the team that lacked, which is kind of funny because I know we talked about last week. Other than Tate Sandell, there wasn't one great area of this team. So, I mean, they needed that team-wide bounce back. Sandell, he was good again today. So it's not like he flipped the narrative there.
I know you couldn't see this because you're on the field. I tweeted after he hit the 55-yarder that good, bad, otherwise there's a lot to play for this year. In 2026, you can build around Tate Sandell.
Yeah, you really can. I mean, he's been lights out. It's hilarious because I know Austin Welsh was kind of in that competition, and he did nothing to lose it, but Tate Sandell has done a lot to win it. Missed that first kick against Michigan. Since then, he's been nails.
Lights out. For Oklahoma, the running game was lights out today. We mentioned not having to push the ball downfield with John Mateer. I think you could see it was a much better job of just acknowledging, like, all right, with the hands still recovering, probably not best to try and ask him to throw it 45 yards multiple times. And you know what makes that so much easier, Carson, to achieve? When you run for 50 yards on your first drive, 45 of that coming from Torrey Blaylock. When you finish with 171, averaging 4.3 yards per carry, it was Torrey Blaylock for the most part. It was Xavier Robinson. He had a really nice moment, a couple of really nice plays on Oklahoma's second touchdown drive, one where he bounces outside, picks up 24 yards, then the touchdown. This is what we had not seen in SEC play, and like we said, Auburn under 40 yards, Texas under 60 yards, 171 today. I know that South Carolina's not a great run defense, but they hadn't been doing this on air, and this was a really, really, really good performance from Oklahoma's offensive line, rushing game, the whole bit.
No, it absolutely was, and it just goes to prove that these running backs don't suck. When they have a little bit of space, they can be really good players. I know X Robinson was obviously a star last year against Bama. We had kind of wondered, where has he been? Well, he showed it. He looked really good. Blaylock, I mean, he's been the lead back this year, but this was probably his best game. I mean, Temple was a really good game for him too, but doing it against an SEC defense in a hostile atmosphere as a true freshman, that's no joke. He was great. So I feel better about that position than we did when the team ran for 48 yards in the entire game. They exceeded that on one drive today.
It was really funny. Be sure you head to Hoove's YouTube page, John Hoover Media, or to the website, OklahomaSoonersOnSI.com. If you talk to Michael Fasusi, he immediately was like, just inconsolable with how poorly he thought he played. I was like, Mike, you guys ran for 171 yards. The only real sack came on Mateer's final drive of the first half, or the game, the final drive of the game early in the fourth quarter, the final real drive he played of the game at least. And I was like, everything was really, really, really good today for Oklahoma. Giovanni Gibson, I thought, was big time. He only finished with 5 catches, but 3 of those were for first downs. And it wasn't like hey, they're finding wide open over the middle. It was 3rd and 6, get 7 yards. 3rd and 5, get 6 yards. He even had a first down catch pulled off the board because it was a pass interference that moved the chains there. So you had Giovanni Gibson there, and then you go back over to the defensive side of the ball, and the Taylor wine, age-like wine, the Renaissance, whatever you want to call it, it continues to be massive. He was the one who maybe tripped up is putting it lightly. He had a good tackle of Lenore Sellers on that first 4th down to make sure that they came up empty with points. He, when they ran that trick play, South Carolina looking for any spark, he was the one that followed Sellers all the way up the sideline, made sure that wasn't open, and then he got the interception on the fake punt. It's been a fantastic day for Taylor Wine, and he's playing as good as anybody on the SOU defense right now.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like he was one of the better defenders last week. Very few good defenders last week against Texas, but Wine was good, and he really built on that today. Obviously, the interception on the fake punt, that was an awesome play. I mean, in fairness, the punter kind of threw it right to him.
Hey, but he read it.
He read it. He caught it. A lot of DBs don't do that, so that was impressive.
He did say he needs to work on that tight end tape a little bit. He was not pleased with his ability in the open field, something to improve on there. And for Oklahoma, it feels like there's still a lot they can improve on, but this was a really, really strong effort. Like we said, the 26-7 did not indicate just how much in control of this thing Oklahoma was. If it wasn't for some of the weird, like they had the Elijah Thomas personal foul after the punt that backed Oklahoma up. They then followed that with a Grayson Miller punt that wasn't great of its own. And then the South Carolina scoring drive was 2 DPIs, 4th and 2 that they had to review. It was not any kind of like confidence from South Carolina. That's something to grow on because right now, at the time we're shooting this, Georgia and Ole Miss, they're still in a shootout. Obviously, that Ole Miss team coming in next week, even if they don't knock off Georgia, it's still going to be a massive, massive big-time game. And this is when Carson, where it was like, okay, it was just one loss last week, and you can't throw away the whole season, but you had to come and have a good day today to say everything's still on the table. And I think Oklahoma answered all those questions, did everything they needed to on this Saturday.
I would agree with that. I mean, it could have very easily spiraled if this game didn't go well. Just looking, South Carolina is not a bad team, but this is probably the weakest opponent left in the second half of the season. They took care of business, though. Like you said, I don't think the final score was depictive of how lopsided this game was, especially when you consider, I hadn't even thought about that. It was a bad punt. South Carolina had so many bailout chances on that scoring drive. OU dominated this game.
And it still took them to 4th down to get
right,
it, too. Like, right. That was the thing. And Isaiah Zatania's touchdown at the end of the 3rd quarter cleared this place out. The fair is on the other side of that scoreboard, which you guys can't see.
That play almost killed me, by the way.
Watch
Carson, the highlights for that.
Carson almost got trucked. I guess you did get trucked, almost into the camera, all that fun stuff. So we're on back home to Oklahoma, headed to as the Sooners take on the Ole Miss Rebels. Only the 3rd time ever that those two are playing. This was Oklahoma's first trip to Williams-Brice. That'll be Ole Miss's first trip to Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. What'd you think of Williams-Brice? We didn't get a ton of atmosphere. Like the press box was really like closed off, so it was hard to tell how loud it was. Oklahoma certainly played a large part of it being quiet for most of the game, but Sandstorm was cool.
Yeah, no, it was first half. The atmosphere was great. It was loud. Obviously, you heard the negative, like the booing, fire Shula chants, stuff like that. But the Sandstorm was great. It was a really good atmosphere. You can tell this fan base really wants a winning team. So I mean, I've enjoyed my time at Williams-Brice Stadium. Definitely a good place to watch a game.
We've enjoyed our trip to the Carolinas. We'll be back to Charlotte here in a little bit, but not before we grind out a bunch more content. As always, all the videos, all the stories, Oklahoma Sooners on SI.com. We'll have our post-game podcast here as soon as we get done turning out stories, but we'll go much, much deeper. We got a Gentry Williams update. We'll dive into the nitty-gritty of everything there as well before we pack up and head back on to Charlotte. But for Carson Field, I'm Ryan Chapman. We're going to head to the press box and start grinding on all that. Be sure you're following us all the normal places, Oklahoma Sooners on SI.com, and on the YouTube, John Hoover Media. We'll talk to you guys here in a little bit for this post-game podcast. See ya.